Welcome everyone to this listening part 3, listening for information analysis. Now I'm just here in the listening part 3 section of the CELPIP library. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that listening part 3 focuses more on CLB 4, 5, or 6. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you need to get CLB 4, 5, or 6, then you need to do better in this part, and you can do better in this part, okay? That's because this part will have more familiar and common dialogues, okay? More common and familiar vocabulary and expression. And so the questions and the answers will also be more familiar and easier for lower levels to understand, and much easier than parts 4, 5, or 6. Okay? So in this part, you need to try to get the most points that you can. Now, if you need to get CLB 7 or higher, then this part should be easier for you as well. And usually higher levels, they get almost everything correct in this part, okay? Because again, it's not so complicated like part 4, 5, or 6. And in those parts, it will be more difficult for higher levels as well. So that's what it means that part 3 is more focused on CLB 4 to 6, okay? Also, I want to remind you that we have this great listening part 3 tips and strategies video, okay? This video will give you more information about how you can listen effectively, how you can manage time effectively, what kind of information you should gather while you're listening, and how you can answer the questions more effectively. So, if you're interested in getting more tips and strategies, some of the tips and strategies that I will be using, then please watch that video, and I will leave a link in the description box to that video. Okay? So now everyone, let's get started with today's sample lesson called Telecommuting. And we're doing test practice 1. Here we are. Now, before we get started with that, I do want to give you some excellent listening tips. Okay. Some of the tips that I feel are great for lower levels and higher levels. Okay. We can both learn and focus on our listening more by following these tips. Number 1, listen to full sentences more than words. Okay. Lower levels, we still have a problem with focusing too much on words and not full sentences. When you focus too much on words, you miss ideas, and the answers get confusing because they put similar words or the same words. So remember, everyone, it's not a vocabulary test or a word test. It's an idea test, okay? Listening for ideas, not words. So for that, listening to full sentences guarantees that we listen for ideas more than words, okay? Number 2, it's very important, everyone, to repeat as much information as you can, and repeat full sentences or full parts, not just words, okay? Now, this is very important for lower levels because lower levels, again, we still have a problem with remembering information or keeping information. So when we repeat ideas and when we repeat information, then we can remember more information. This is very important. The more you repeat, the more you remember. Now, what about taking notes? Well, taking notes is also a great idea. But from my experience, lower levels, we still have a problem with writing. And we still have a problem with writing notes and listening while we write. That's why for lower levels, it's more important to repeat information than write notes. But if you can, write a word or two as long as it doesn't keep you away from the listening, because that's the goal, listening to the audio. Okay? So let's remember that. Writing notes are also good. Higher levels, I think you should be able to write notes much faster. And if you can, then that's good. But even for higher levels, this part, we need to get everything correct. And the information and the questions are not so difficult. So I find that repeating it is also more important for you. Okay? Also, let's remember, we need to repeat the question as soon as we hear it. You listen to the question, you repeat it. That way you know what the question is while you read the answers. Now, for the answers, the most important tip that we can give for the answers, everyone, it's try to focus on the idea of each answer, not just each word. Because many times the answers, they put words that you heard, but they put all of them, not just one. And so we need to try and focus on full ideas, okay? And connect, associate the words. That's another important one, okay? So focus on the full idea of the answer, not just the word. Okay, and one more tip I can give about the answers, okay? And that one is about direct and indirect questions. Okay? Indirect questions can be difficult to understand. For example, how does the woman feel? Or how does the man feel? They never said exactly how they feel. So we have to imagine, or we have to think from the information that we heard, what was the feeling, or what another popular one is, what is the man or the woman, what are they going to do next, or what will they likely do next? That one is indirect, because we have to imagine from what we hear, or we have to assume what the answer will be. So keep in mind, okay, keep that in mind, that not every question is direct, meaning we hear exactly that information. There are indirect questions and direct questions. Okay? All right. So, listening part 3, it's similar to part 1 and 2, just in here, there's more information, and the questions are usually more about specific information that they spoke about. And that's what makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay? So now let's get started with today's listening part 3. So then everyone, I want to remind you that we're going to do this listening together, okay? And so what does that mean? Well, I'm going to let you listen to the full conversation. And after you listen to the conversation, I'm going to let you answer all the questions, okay? And you'll have 20 seconds between the questions. So then after you finished all the questions, then we are going to analyze the listening together and discover what the answers are. Okay? So now let's get started with the listening. Okay?
Listening for information.
As I was saying, things are changing. There are more benefits for working parents, like paternity leave, unpaid family leave, and so forth.
That's true. Like in the last 5 years or so, more people have been encouraged to work from home, telecommuting, and so on. That helps too.
Going back to what you said about childcare, Ted, daycare centers are now being provided free by some companies.
So parents can just bring their kids to work.
But very few companies offer this benefit.
That's a good point. Don, you mentioned unpaid leave earlier. I think it's great that parents can take time off without losing their jobs.
I agree. But unpaid leave means less money. And like I said, families need two incomes.
Just the same, I think the trend is for companies to offer more benefits, incentives, etc., to attract and keep good employees.
Yes. And like you said earlier, Don, companies now offer paternity leave, not just maternity leave. I mean, it's only fair. Then a father can stay home with a new baby, too.
I think companies could do more. But going back to what you said, Paula, about telecommuting, if more people could work from home, maybe childcare wouldn't be such a problem.
Yeah, and as you were saying, Ted, unpaid family leave means less money for a family, so maybe telecommuting is a better alternative for parents.
Okay, let's get to the questions.
Question 1. How does the man say things are changing? Question 2. How does the woman feel about change? Question 3. What is unpaid leave? Question 4. What is the problem with unpaid leave? Question 5. What do companies offer fathers? Question 6. What is telecommuting?
So then, everyone, now let's review the questions, okay? Let's see how we did. So I have over here the script. Let's go over here and see question 1. How does the man say things are changing? So they start off in the conversation. What do they say about how things are changing? There are more benefactors. There are more options for working parents. There are more working parents these days, or there are more paternity leaves. Well, let's look at the script here. As I was saying, things are changing. There are more benefits for working parents, like paternity leave, unpaid leave, and so forth. Okay, well, so I can see here again that there are many choices just on words. So it's not D because just not more paternity leaves. He mentions there is paternity leave, but not more. Also, not more working parents, just more benefits for working parents. So A or B, more benefactors, more options for working parents. B is the answer. A is only benefactors, but benefactors for who? For working parents, okay? What about number 2? How does a woman feel about change? Okay, let's see. She's against people working from home. She's on the fence about this new change. She's in favor of working from home. She agrees with commuting to work. Okay, so let's see. That's true. Like in the last 5 years or so, more people have been encouraged to work from home, telecommuting, and so on. That helps too. Going back to what you said about childcare, Ted, daycare centers are now being provided free by some companies. So parents can just bring their kids to work. But very few companies offer this benefit. That's a good point. Dawn, you mentioned unpaid leave earlier. I think it's great that parents can take time off without losing their jobs. So she says over here that helps too. So I think that she agrees with this. Let's look. Not against. Against means not agree. She's on the fence. On the fence means not sure. I think no, not that one either. And not about commuting. She mentioned telecommuting, which means working from home. Commuting just means traveling to work back and forth. So the answer is C. She's in favor of working from home. So she agrees with working from home. What about number 3? What is unpaid leave? It's a leave with pay. It's definite leave of absence. It's a leave with job security. It's unpaid work days. Okay, over here. Dawn, you mentioned unpaid leave earlier. I think it's great that parents can take time off without losing their jobs. I agree, but unpaid leave means less money. And like I said, families need 2 incomes. Just the same, I think the trend is for companies to offer more benefits, incentives, etc., to attract and keep good employees. So take time off without losing their job seems to be the key. Not with pay, so not A. Not definite leave of absence means leave and never come back. So not that one. It's a leave with job security. It's unpaid work days. So not work days. It's unpaid days without working. So C, leave, you can leave the job, but job security, you can keep it. Okay? Number 4, what is the problem with unpaid leave? It can make making ends meet easier. It's not enough for two working parents. Not enough time for two working parents. It could cause one to lose their job. It might cause financial hardships. So I think we read that one already. Families need two incomes. Yeah, and as you were saying, Ted, unpaid family leave means less money for families. So maybe telecommuting is a better alternative for parents. So looks like the answer is not A, because making ends meet means having enough. But there it said it's not enough, or could be a problem. Families need two incomes, so not A. Not enough time. Not about time, it's about money. Cause one to lose their job, not lose their job. So cause financial problems, hardships, problems. That's the answer. Number 5, what do companies offer fathers? They offer maternity leave. They give fathers a chance to raise a child. They give fathers more time off than women. They allow fathers to go be with their wives during childbirth. Okay, well, companies offer paternity leave, not just maternity leave. I mean, it's only fair then a father can stay home with a new baby too. So, not maternity leave, that's for mothers. Maybe be more time off, more than women? No. Just be with their wives, be with the children, not during childbirth. So it looks like B is the answer. More time to be with the child. Okay. And what about 6? What is telecommuting? I think companies could do more, but going back to what you said, Paula, about telecommuting. If more people could work from home, maybe childcare wouldn't be such a problem. So work from home. It's communicating on the phone, so not the phone. It's commuting to work on the phone. No, not commuting to work. It's working from home is the answer. Telecommunication, the job. So C. C is the answer. Very interesting, everyone. Very interesting. So how did you do? Did you get 6 from 6? Well, I hope so. Now, everyone, let's remember that it's very important to review the answers. Why is the answer the answer? And why is the answer not the answer? Very good to review. And also reading the script. Here we have the script, everyone. The script gives you lots of information about vocabulary, also expression. We need to get familiar with how they are expressing their ideas and communicating. Very good. Okay. So for that, everyone, I will be leaving a link in the description box to this listening. All right. So then, here we are in the front page of today's sample lesson. And you can see that this lesson has 6 sections. All right. And it's very important to review them all. We have the video analysis, which is the one that we are watching right now. Okay. And then we have vocabulary building for this section. Okay. Great vocabulary. Look at all these vocabulary words. Indifferent, to not care, absence, to not be there. Great list, which gives you the word, the basic meaning, synonyms, antonyms. Okay. Very good. And then after you study that, then we have some sentences down here where you need to complete the sentence by putting one word from the vocabulary. Great exercise, everyone, for building your vocabulary. Excellent. And then we have this comprehension building. Okay, comprehension building. Now, this one is also a great exercise for listening. We listen to one sentence. Okay, let's listen to it.
Nowadays, there are more benefits for working parents.
So after you listen to that sentence, you need to decide which sentence, A or B, has the same meaning as the one you heard. Great for building comprehension for listening, everyone. And it gets more difficult as we go. For example, number 6, which sentence has the same meaning? A, B, neither A nor B, or both A and B. This exercise I feel is great for helping lower levels improve their listening comprehension skills. Great exercise. Okay, and then down here we have following dialogue. Following dialogue is also an excellent exercise. Okay, we listen to the audio, and as we listen, we complete the dialogue with a word that we hear. Okay, what is the word that we hear? And we complete the dialogue with that word. Great for improving your listening comprehension skills and listening skills. Okay. And then we have here test practice number 1, which is the one we will analyze now. And then test practice number 2. Test practice number 2 is version 2 of this exam. And after you complete this listening analysis, then you should do that one on your own to review and practice what you learned. Also, everyone, let's not forget about CELPIP Library. CELPIP Library has over 60 examples of listening part 3 and also version 2s, which is great, everyone, to practice part 3. So, with discount code CELPIP79, again, discount code CELPIP79, you can get a 3-month subscription of CELPIP Library for only $10.99. That's a great deal, everyone, and I strongly recommend it. Let's not forget, practice makes perfect.